we have to start with something funny.
What's funny?
I don't know.
I feel like our cat's funny.
Funny looking.
Ha! Get off of my desk.
Suki, don't be a menace.
What do you think you'll find?
Alright, Suki's in the intro now.
Suki's in the intro.
Say something.
She's got no material. Stage fright.
Amateur.
She's frozen up.
Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Cinema Crush.
Welcome.
I'm your host, Emily Salisbury.
And I'm your co-host, Jacob Salisbury.
And this is a podcast where we as a married couple share weird movies with each other. Sometimes not weird movies.
I mean,
according to cultural norms.
This is episode 2, so far it's weird movies.
Yeah. I mean weird as like esoteric or eclectic kind of movies where it's like the fever dream movies from your childhood where you're like, was that actually a thing or did I just imagine that? Like, did I have a weird dream and I thought it was a movie? Like that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But also like formative movies. Like you've watched a lot of movies, I feel like, in your childhood.
I think I've watched increasingly more movies as I've grown up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. We both definitely have...
It's kind of part of my job now.
...developed an interest further on. But,
I went to college to study movies.
Yeah. It's specifically the animated parts of movies, but when I was talking to my dad today, and hi Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm sharing an anecdote about you. I was telling him about the new Sandman series that's out on Netflix, which...
So good.
We're recording this in mid-August, so if you haven't started Sandman yet, you still have a chance to before everyone's really talking about it. But it's really good, and I was talking to him about the visual effects in it, and he explained to me that he has delineated the difference between live-action movies with VFX and fully animated movies in his brain, and explained it to me as such, and I thought that was nice.
So proud.
I'm so proud. It's so weird living in a world of artists and animators because, like, these things are vernacular to us, but, like, for the average movie watcher, like, a movie like The Lion King that is the quote-unquote live action is basically fully VFX. It is fully VFX, except for that. Like,
there's one live action shot.
That one famed live action shot that everyone in our film community was talking about. And that Jon Favreau dropped in.
You know what? It's an okay shot.
Yeah, it's fine. It's alright. The whole rest of the movie is basically animated, but it doesn't look like it. And so I can see where the average person would have confusion about that because, you know, in the 90s when the movie we're watching today was made, animated movies were just like 2D. There wasn't 3D until like Disney Pixar really popularized it, I feel like.
Yeah. Kind of pioneered the way.
Yeah. So I guess thanks for that, Disney.
Yeah. I always love explaining to people like the difference of 2D and 3D because like some people don't know. And like I forget that. Because I teach animation,
right? And
it's just like so natural to me to like talk about these mediums.
Yeah.
But like it's like as an illustrator, like explaining like acrylic versus like oil painting. Like, how do you know the difference? Like it's just a painting. It's like
well, one can kill you if you don't do it correctly. So that's a big difference. But I mean, if you consume acrylic,
I was gonna say if I eat either one, I feel like I will die.
But if you are around oil paints without proper precautions, you can get poisoning through your skin. So don't do that.
Be careful with your art.
Be careful when you're making art. It's dangerous. But yeah, I always like having conversations like that with people in my life, because so many people I know are not so engrossed in film that it's like their life, and that's like most of our family members. And so I appreciate when people have breakthroughs like that. I suppose we could talk about some updates in our life to kind of...
Yeah, so it's been a bit longer than we anticipated between recordings. So I think last time we recorded, I mentioned that I was going to get a tattoo. I now have a tattoo. It's on my arm, and it's cool.
Yeah, we have both gotten fresh ink in the last couple of months. Both are quite satisfied and looking insanely cooler. We also are still recording pre-launch of this podcast, so we're still kind of figuring things out. Pre-feedback from everybody. So if things seem a little bit all over the place, it's just because we haven't quite figured ourselves out yet.
Well, we had this conversation with this podcast because, like, we wanted to do it, and, like, we didn't know how we wanted to do it, and then, like, when we went to record episode 1, we were just like, let's just do it, and then we'll fix it as we go, which I think is what's the kick in the pants I needed to actually record and edit, because, like, it's hard making a podcast on a consistent basis.
And I think most people can relate to the issue of, like, people who are perfectionists, like myself, where it's really hard to start something because you know that it won't be perfect, and it will never be perfect, but at least to the highest standard that you want it to be, it won't be from the start. And it's really hard to get over that hump of, like, I know I can do good work, but I know the first few drafts of what I'm going to do aren't going to be good. They're going to be something, and they're going to be a starting place. So that's kind of where we are in recording this, and we just kind of had to go for it, because otherwise we're going to keep recording pilot episodes and then never actually putting them out, because it wasn't going to be quite right.
Yeah.
So,
I think the mentality switch for me that got me into the mood I'm in right now, that I'm excited to record a podcast, is I'm making it with you. I'm making it for you. And that's what this podcast is about.
Yeah. It's nice to take movie watching, which we do basically every night, and turn it and be more reflective, and organize our thoughts more.
And hopefully engage with people.
Yeah, I want other people to be part of the conversation, because something I always value is hearing other perspectives. Because so many times I have conversations with Jacob, and we'll have one completely, like, contained conversation between our two perspectives, and then I'll go talk to another friend, and they have a completely different perspective on the type of movie and the genre and the filmmaking, and they have more perspective on who made the film or some other aspect of it that neither of us could even, like, give any input to, just because we don't have that information. And so I think film as a medium is worth talking about with lots of other people. So I think that this will be a great opportunity to get people to be part of the conversation and have people interact with us on social media and in real life, just to talk about stuff. Like, I always listen to podcasts and I'm like, I wish I could be part of that conversation. And so that's kind of what I want to encourage with this podcast, is I want people to talk to us and give us their opinions and give us their feedback.
Maybe we can have a segment for that in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to have some kind of, like, letters to Cinema Crush. Love letters.
Love letter. Oh, that's it. Guys, write us a love letter.
Valentine's. Write us a love letter. Doesn't have to be perfect, but if you want to, we will happily read it and maybe talk about it on the podcast. So let's get into talking about the movie that we're going to watch today, because it's my pick.
It's your pick. What are you presenting to me? Because I don't know.
So I think in the intro episode for this podcast, if you've listened to it, I sort of mentioned that some of my background in film and animation specifically is that my dad often pirated. Maybe that's too harsh of a word because I don't know exactly how he did it, but
privateered.
He would basically burn DVDs for me and my younger sister to watch cartoons off of, or he just had them on his computer. And I don't know that this movie was one of those, but it definitely fits the vibe of the kind of things that we would watch, just like in the basement on his desktop computer. And so I have a lot of like really positive memories associated with movies like this. The title specifically being We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, a film that is part of the compendium of, well, not compendium, a film that is one of a few that Steven Spielberg's animation company, Amblimation, made, along with the sadly not brought to the silver screen animated Cats film. So this is the same team that would have made that movie, which is sad because I love Cats, the musical.
Boy, I sure wish I could watch a Cats animated movie.
It would be. Have you seen concept art?
I have seen the concept art because you showed me. I'm joking because there is a Cats animated movie.
There is a
and
Cats
it's awful.
Animated movie, but you know what I mean. Like not horrifyingly.
Not as deep as we can dig into the uncanny valley as we can.
Yeah, but we're not talking about cats. We're talking about dinosaurs.
Yeah. Why dinosaurs?
Why this movie is dinosaurs, or why me dinosaurs?
Why you pick it? Why you picking dinosaurs?
Because I love dinosaurs. I've always loved dinosaurs. I was a self-proclaimed dinosaur kid. So a lot of the movies that I watched as a kid, a lot of the content I consumed as a kid was dinosaur related or dragon related, which is closely
I think that counts as dinosaur content.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, We're Back came out in 1993 along with Jurassic Park. So I think this is one of those instances where film just kind of had a theme.
No, I think it's the instance where Spielberg had the dinosaur bug.
Also that. Definitely. That might be more the case.
It's just like, I really love dinosaurs this year.
Well, and these two movies are not dissimilar in that they are about bringing dinosaurs from prehistoric time into modern day. And the kind of havoc that they can wreak. Although in this movie, the dinosaurs are the good guys.
Oh, okay.
There is a very spooky bad guy. So if you're watching this movie with little kids, be prepared for them to be scarred for life because he is legitimately pretty scary.
Really? I'm intrigued.
This is one of those animated movies where I think people probably watched it as a kid and like it's one of those movies that kind of scar you.
Back in the 90s.
Those like where they get dark. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but I think there is a lot of, like, rich storytelling in this movie, and in part because your bad guy is just so evil, but is complex and complicated.
I feel like there's a lot of instances in cartoons today that we kind of fluff things up a little for kids, and, like, I understand that, but, like, there's such good movies out there that really dive into, like, real situations or issues or whatever. Like, I fully believe, in terms of children's media, that you can talk about anything. It's just a matter of how you present it. For example, like a series of unfortunate events.
Right.
That's a dark series of events.
Yeah.
But it's painted in a way where you can watch it and deal with it and cheer on these characters as they go through these unfortunate things.
Right. I will say this movie definitely isn't the most character development heavy. You kind of get your characters and they're like, this is the good guy, and this is a good guy, and this is a kid, and this kid, and the kids have some problems, and they have character development, sort of. But all of the dinosaurs pretty much are just there to be fun dinosaur characters. But I don't fault it for that. I still love it. Oh, I was going to talk about the cast a little bit because I actually haven't looked at this myself. I knew that John Goodman was in it.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that one to me before we started recording, and I'm immediately interested.
But
who else we got?
We have, these are the ones that I like recognize right off the bat. Walter Cronkite, Jay Leno.
Oh?
Allegedly, I thought that this was just a impersonation or impression, but apparently Julia Child.
Really?
So we'll have to keep it. I think I know who she is. I thought it was an impression of her, but maybe I guess it actually is her. You'll know exactly who it is. Martin Short is also in this. So those are just a few. But there are a lot of names on here that I don't recognize as much, and maybe they were more popular in the 90s, but I didn't know that as a kid, so John Goodman is the real selling point here, I think, in terms of voice actors. It's directed by Dick Zondag and Rolf Zondag and Phil Nibelink. So.
Sorry, Nibelink?
Nibelink.
What a fun last name.
I think a lot of the people on this team are people that kind of worked on all of these animation projects, so like An American Tail, Five Will Goes West, An American Tail, those kinds of productions. So like if you know that animation style, it's not quite like Don Bluth.
Don Bluth adjacent.
It's Don Bluth adjacent, and it's primarily like those few movies that are part of that family of movies. So
cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited to show you this one and see what you think. But do we want to get into it?
I think so.
Okay.
Actually, I want to try a new segment.
Oh.
Called
Weird Sodas.
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot. Let's do it.
I'll write a theme song later, maybe. Here's the sound bite for you.
That was really good.
That was very satisfying. So today's weird. So I guess context. Whenever we're at the grocery store and we see a really weird new, soda brands, they like to change things up on you.
Yeah.
And like make weird new flavors. We always like to try them because sometimes they're just bizarre.
Yeah.
And like why would you make this Windex flavored soda water? Because that's what a lot of the Mountain Dew ones taste like to me. Sometimes
they're just like, why did you make this and sell it as a different flavor? Because it doesn't taste different from the normal one.
Today's soda, not sponsored by anyone, by the way.
No. Absolutely not. Don't even think about it.
This is Dream World Coca-Cola.
It's dream flavored.
It's dream flavored.
So, relevant to the Sandman series.
I guess so. Is that what they're capitalizing on?
Yeah, I bet it is.
So, they released, what was the space Coke called?
They had Stardust Coke.
Stardust Coke, or Starlight Coke, one of those.
Starlight or Stardust.
I don't
something
know.
like that.
It was okay.
It didn't really taste different, as I alluded to before.
It tasted different, but like, in a weird way.
Yeah, it just wasn't it was kind of like more flat Coke, so...
But let's see what dreams taste like.
What do dreams taste like?
Okay.
Let me try
okay, you try it.
While you figure your thoughts out.
What is this on my palate right now? Is it, like, it's like kind of berry-ish?
It's like almost, I don't know, it's like almost peachy.
Yeah.
It smells like peaches. That's really weird.
It doesn't taste like Coke.
No, it doesn't.
At all.
It's like fruity, but not.
Yeah, like a.
It's like peach.
It's like
if you carbonated the syrup that like canned peaches come in.
Yeah, that's a good description of it. It's like an alien fruit drink.
I don't hate it, but it's not what I want when I want a Coke. I'm so sorry if you don't drink soda. There is a sugar-free version of this, if that tickles your fancy. But if you don't drink soda, I'm sorry.
New segment, trying it out. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. Have you tried Dreamworld Coke? What did you think of it? Did you also think it was weird? Let us know.
And we'll see you after the break.
See ya.
It's intermission time.
Howdy, y'all. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard so far. You get to hang out with me in this middle section of the podcast. And I'm just going to remind you of our ways to contact us before we get right back to the movie. So if you like what you've heard already and want to support our podcast, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cinema Crush Pod. That's at Cinema Crush Pod. We'll be posting updates there and sharing things that we love, new projects, and anything from you guys. So if you have questions or feedback, you can tweet at us, DM us, comment on posts, or even respond to stories that we put out. We always love to hear from you guys, and hopefully in the future we'll have a segment where we get to kind of share your feedback. We plan on publishing episodes bi-weekly, so look for us again in 2 weeks with a new episode. And for a limited time, we'll also be doing special episodes during our off weeks on the new Amazon show, The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. So watch along with us as we discuss the show and the world of Tolkien. We really appreciate you for listening and giving this podcast a chance. So if you think there's anybody out there, your grandma, your dog, your best friend's sister, share the podcast with them and maybe share on your social media if you think they'd like our content. That's all I have for now, so I think we'll get back to the podcast and see what future Emily and Jacob thought of this movie. See you later.
And now, on with the show.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
It's been an hour and 11 minutes since last we spoke. We're recording right after watching the movie this time because I think that Jacob has some thoughts to express. I will warn you ahead of time, this is not spoiler free. This movie is older than both of us though, so if you haven't seen it and you wanted to, you should have seen it by now. So we are going to talk in depth about this movie. But how you feeling, Jacob?
You know, I just love this movie so much that I could lay an egg.
You're gonna bring that up.
I could just lay an egg.
Yeah. I don't.
Which is a real line from this movie.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So, basic plot summary, just to make sure that I've got this right after seeing it for the first time.
Explain this movie to me.
Okay.
We're back at Dinosaur Story, 1993.
Yeah. So, there's a time traveler.
What's his name?
I don't care, because he's in it for like 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, his name is in direct relation to his brother's name. Is
it screw butt? He's got a screw in his butt. Because the evil guy is Professor Screw Eyes.
And his brother is Professor New Eyes. So
I forgot.
Professor New Eyes is a time traveler.
Listen, there was so much more happening in this.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in this movie.
So New Eyes, the time traveling scientist, he has a radio that can hear wishes. And he has a cereal called Brain Grain, which makes you smart.
Uh-huh.
And he decides he's going to listen to these wishes of these kids from the 90s that want to see dinosaurs, because Jurassic Park came out, I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes back in time and gives his brain grain to some dinosaurs.
Well, to 4 dinosaurs.
4
and a
dinosaurs.
pterosaur.
Yes.
But they don't really make that distinction in this movie.
We got a pterodactyl.
Uh-huh.
We got a T-Rex. We got a Triceratops. And we have whatever the duckbill...
Whatever that one is.
Whatever that one is. It's not really any specific...
They're all very generic versions of the dinosaurs that they're supposed to represent.
Right. So they get smart. They can talk now.
They love hot dogs.
They love hot dogs.
They
Boy,
love,
do they love
they
hot
love them
dogs.
so much.
And boy, do I just want to lay an egg.
Please stop saying that.
Well, I would if they would stop, but they didn't.
Well, they only said it twice. So you're only...
And yet,
you used them.
Here we are. Here we are, eggless. So they decide, yeah, let's go to the future, and meet these kids and make their dreams come true or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, alright, but watch out for my brother.
Dr. Screw
Dr.
Eyes.
Screw Eyes, which is an inaccurate name because he only has one screw and one eye. So I'm gonna come back to him because he's such a fascinating character to be.
Yeah, I told you.
Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
He's just this, creepy old man.
Yeah.
With a screw in his eye. A magic screw? Maybe?
Maybe.
Which can do mind control?
I think it's important to establish that being from the future means you have steampunk magic.
Yes, we went back to steampunk because we decided that was better.
Well, because we imply that we're in a future where everybody dresses like it's the 90s still, but all of the alien races have made peace with each other and have united, and so there's nothing more to solve in the future, presumably. So now we're going back in time to contribute in the little ways that we can without changing the future.
By making dinosaurs smart and unleashing them upon New York.
I mean, not intentionally.
He literally told them, go to the Museum of Natural History. What did you expect was gonna happen?
He thought that his correspondent at the Museum of Natural History, Julia Child, would arrive on time.
Is in this movie, and she's pretty great.
But she says herself she's historically and unapologetically late all the time. So she's not there to receive the dinosaurs when they arrive. Which is where all these hijinks start.
Okay. So we meet our human characters. There's a boy named Louis. He's got that New York accent.
Yeah, he's the original tough guy.
Original tough guy from New York.
Yeah.
He's running away from his ma and his dad to go to the circus.
Because his ma kisses him in public. And
yeah,
it's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. I can't stand it. And along the way, they meet this girl character.
Yeah.
And that's her personality trait. She is girl character.
She's girl character.
Who loves boy character very much.
Yeah.
And a little too much and immediately.
Yeah.
I was very uncomfortable with the relationship between them.
This is one of those animated movies where, this is not the part I remember as a kid because it's not important to me. But there is a historical trend of animated movies that have a boy-girl main cast where they shoehorn them into a romantic relationship. And these kids are, probably... not teenagers.
Oh, definitely not.
So it's weird. It's weird, but it's also a boy crazy girl and very presumptive, and she's a rich girl, she's a debutante, so I guess her whole life has been spent fostering this importance of being in a relationship. So it's weird. I think she has a lot of deep-seated issues because her parents don't love her, and so she's trying to find somebody else.
Oh, yeah, one of my favorite lines in this movie, Louis first meets this girl, and she's talking about her parents.
And how upset she is.
And his first words are just what, do they beat you?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Just right out the gate.
Yeah.
That's the first thing he jumps to.
Yep. She's no, they're just on vacation on Thanksgiving and they left me at home by myself. Which is arguably emotionally traumatic, too. These are just, Louis has good parents.
It was a different times.
And Cecilia has bad parents. So...
Oh, man.
That's kind of the crux of their character relationship, is that they're both like, oh yeah, parents suck, parents are the worst. And then they team up with these dinosaurs to go join the
so
circus.
Louis kidnaps this girl on a pterosaur, and they fly around, and they meet the dinosaurs, and then they're trying to blend into the Thanksgiving Day parade. This is a Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah, it's a Thanksgiving movie. So if you ever needed a Thanksgiving movie that's not Charlie Brown, this is the one for you, probably.
Just say,
I think.
Just come in to your family dinner and say, family, we're going to watch We're Back, a dinosaur story.
Yeah, and they'll be like, who are you and why are you in my house? And you'll be like, no, we're watching it because it's a Thanksgiving
Sit down
movie, and it's
right
seasonally
now.
appropriate. But yeah, wacky hijinks ensue. They almost get arrested several times because they are in fact real dinosaurs.
In a wild 90s CGI chase.
Yeah.
Mixed with 2D animation, so like, it's alright.
Stuff happens.
There's some, stylistically, there's some wild camera movements in this movie all the time.
Yeah.
There's no, I don't think there's any still shots.
No, it's like always moving. It's weird. They end up at the circus.
And the ringleader of the circus is Professor Screw Eyes. Plot twist. It's him, the guy we're not supposed to see, and he's scary.
He's scary.
Honestly, I feel like I was in the wrong movie, because Professor Screw Eyes is the most interesting character.
Oh, yeah.
He runs this fear circus, where instead of trying to make you laugh, he's trying to make you afraid, and I think we need more circuses like this.
I mean, I'm sure those exist.
I need to go to one.
They make haunted houses for a reason.
No.
That's what this reminds me
Not a
of.
haunted house. A fear circus.
Well...
A fircus, if you will.
I won't.
So, Professor Screw Eyes and his fircus.
It's not working. Not working for me.
Louis joins the fircus.
No, stop. Louis and Cecilia both sign a contract in blood.
With blood. He mind controls them to sign this blank piece of paper, and surprise, it's a contract, which is very illegal.
Yeah, this is not a legally binding contract. I have a feeling that he would be able to mind control them to do whatever he wants anyway, but the contract itself is not. It's nothing.
But anyway, they're about to this contract. The dinosaurs are like, oh no, our friends. And he's like, oh, I'll give you your friends back if you take my drugs.
Brain drain.
My brain drain drugs, and make you beasts again so you could be in my circus.
Yeah. It's like, wow, what a marketing opportunity.
Because guess what? I also have a radio.
Yeah.
A fear radio.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, my memory of this movie was that, the fear radio had all the fears of kids being that kids were afraid of dinosaurs, but he just says that they're afraid of monsters.
And just lumps dinosaurs in with that.
Which arguably is what Steven Spielberg did making Jurassic Park. But for some reason I remembered it being specifically dinosaurs, and they were all really upset about that. But that is not the case. They're just monsters. So he refers to them as monsters. But this movie moves a lot faster than I remember it, too.
It's constant. There's no, pauses or rests to, spend with characters. It's just, I feel like that happens a lot in a certain type of kids movie when, you have this feeling that, oh, I need to keep it interesting. I need to keep them engaged in every scene.
Right.
And that's true to an extent.
Yeah.
But when you oversaturate your scenes with movement and dialogue, it kind of just becomes meaningless, and it's kind of like white noise.
Yeah.
Almost. If I have too much action in a film, it's not as interesting to me as when there is well done, well paced action. Yeah.
We do get a couple of actually nice sort of sentimental moments in this movie. Whenever Rex and the gang do sacrifice themselves so these kids don't have to sell their souls to Dr. Screw Eyes. There's a really nice moment with Rex where, like, Louis showed up as a wish that he just wanted to have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so Rex, his whole motivation with tagging along with this kid is like, this kid needs a friend and we can be his friends. And so he has this really nice sentimental moment with him that's like nice and quiet and like kind of emotional. That's just like we were friends for a minute. What happened?
Like, sorry, bud.
Sorry. But this is what friends do, I guess, is they turn into horrifying monsters so that you don't have to.
Aw. I would turn into a horrifying monster for you.
I would rather you not.
But I would.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. But I think the ending was probably the most impactful.
Impactful and, like, most, like, wild, like, it's like pink elephants on parade. I don't know. It was this crazy sequence of events and spooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like ghouls and demons flying around.
Mm-hmm.
And then he brings out the dinosaurs in this, like, honestly, very artistic looking pyramid.
Yeah, it's very, like, eldritch almost.
Yeah, it's like this eldritch pyramid, and it, like, opens up, and it was so cool. When the dinosaurs are monstrous, they're animated in a different style than they are when they're, like, cartoony and friendly, so, like, it looks more like Land Before Time.
Yeah.
Like the sharp teeth in that movie.
Yeah, they're more like hard edges, angular kind of dinosaur design.
More like realistic wrinkles and proportions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
It's spooky.
It's like, oh, they're gonna eat those people.
Yeah, so he's scaring his audience, which is his job.
Yeah. And
then he uses his screw mind control on Rex to, like, make him do stuff. And then I guess, what was the deal with the ravens?
So this is the thing. This is the thing with this movie that I think you caught onto at the end. One of the things that I really like about this movie is that there's a lot of lore that we're not given and we just kind of have to try to fill in. And these ravens are one of them because they come in right at the end too. And they're kind of there all the time, and we have moments where we see, like, Screw Eyes is legitimately unsettled by these ravens, and he's kind of, like, constantly on edge.
Yeah, he's, like, looking around him,
screen.
and, like, he keeps the lights on outside of the circus, and, like, he's, like, paranoid, because the only information we're given about him in the beginning is that he went, like, mad when he lost his eye, which at first I thought was, like, I laughed, I thought it was really funny, but, like, seeing the ending, I completely understand.
Yeah.
And I really want a spin-off with Dr. Screw Eyes.
Yeah. I don't know if we're gonna get that this far out, but I do think that there's this really interesting story with these two brothers and, like, what happened?
Yeah, these two brothers from the future.
Yeah.
Who are meddling with the past.
Yeah.
In different ways.
And not in, like, ultimately affecting way. Like, the way that they're meddling is not going to necessarily change how things play. Like, they're not doing any big schemes or anything. Like, Screw Eyes is not trying to, like, steal the Statue of Liberty or anything like that. It's all small scale. Like, they have their goals of either fulfilling wishes or scaring people, because those are the two characters that they are. They're good and evil.
They complete each other.
Yeah.
So this raven comes in and, like, hits the lights, and it, like, messes up the mind control. So now Rex is, like, going crazy, and he picks up Dr. Screw Eyes, and, like, I thought he was going to eat him. I thought that was going to be the end, and I was, like, all on board with it. I was like, yeah, kids movie. Eat the bad guy. Do it.
And then Louis swoops in and gives a really weird, rambly speech to Rex about how he's not the original tough guy Rex is.
He's like, you gotta be better than the bullies.
Yeah. It's
put him down.
It would be inspiring if I could understand half of what he said.
Yeah. I mean, It's through tears.
Yeah. It's an emotional scene, and it feels very much like what a kid would say if they were trying to convince somebody not to do something harmful. But watching it back, it's like, where are you going with this? What are you trying to say?
I mean, I feel like it's the way a kid would have worded it.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me because I feel like a lot of the animated content that I see now, everything is very like thought out, even if that wouldn't be in character for like the age of the person that's saying it. So seeing a kid actually just like breaking down and saying whatever comes to mind to try to convince their friend not to do something
bad. Not to eat things.
Yeah.
Eat people.
I don't know. It's just, it was interesting.
But he regains his connection to his smart brain, and he puts the guy down, and he saves all the other dinosaurs with hugs, I guess.
Yeah.
With love. And then they kiss.
Yeah, that does happen. Because
it's boy character and girl character, and they gotta get together in the end. Yeah. Because it's the 90s.
Even though they're kids. But New Eyes shows up. And it's like, are you gonna come with us or what?
Yeah, these brothers are the most interesting part of this movie. I'm enraptured with them. New Eyes offers to help his brother. Yeah. Like, he lends his hand out as an olive branch to like, hey, come with me. Yeah. Like, quit doing this. And he's like, no, this is who I am. And he's like, okay, and then leaves. And then the most horrifying and confusing scene in the whole movie, the ravens, they swoop in around, because it's the first time that Screw Eyes is afraid.
And he's alone.
He's alone. Everyone is left. All the main kids and like dinosaurs, they've left. They've gone to the museum. It's just him in the circus tent. And the ravens. And the ravens come down and surround him. And they cover his body. And then when they fly away, all that is left is this screw with like arcane energy smoking out of it. And the one last raven comes to the ground where the screw is and just like blows it out like a candle, and he's gone. Yeah. We have no explanation for this. That's just what happens. Yeah. And I'm going to be thinking about this all week.
Yeah, I think, because after that we get the nice closure of like the dinosaurs go to the Natural History Museum.
They meet some kids.
And
it's happy.
And movie. And, yeah, but that whole storyline is just so interesting to me. And I feel like this is just a chapter in the lives of these brothers.
Someone on the writing staff had a story that they wanted to put in, and they were like, God, man, it's a dinosaur movie. We can't spend that much time on this. He's like, fine, I'll sneak it in.
I'll put it in just enough to keep them guessing.
And guessing I am, and I've got to give it props for that.
I love movies like that. Like, these are the things where I'm like, okay, you pulled me in with the dinosaurs, but you keep me there because I want to know more about, like, why? Why are they doing this? What's the motivation?
But I guess, plot-wise, I would say this is very fast-paced.
Yeah, it's very much
very bouncy.
Yeah. There's a song.
It's a very good song. It's not a musical.
No, it's not.
But, like, there's just one big musical number.
Well, because, like, there's all these things where they, like, establish a thing about a character and then they, like, circle back to it. So, like, when Rex first becomes smart, the first thing he does is sing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of his, like, character trait. Is that he likes to sing and, like, he's jovial and he makes people happy.
Yeah, he likes to hear himself.
Yeah. So that's, like, he's got a loud voice. So, like, later on in the movie, he is singing at the parade. Because that's what he loves to do. Because nobody else, you'd notice
Yeah.
none of the other characters really join in. It's not like a group thing.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, this movie's plot is kind of bonkers and pretty messy.
Yeah.
But the characters are really good.
Yeah.
All the characters are fun, and, like, some of them are shallower than others.
Yeah, definitely.
Girl character.
Yeah, both girl characters, honestly. Because the pterodactyl, Elsa, is also pretty much just like, oh, swoon.
So, subtly horny characters.
Subtly? I don't know about that. That's kind of her one character trait.
I guess.
Honestly, that's not how they probably thought about it, given it's a kids' movie. But that is there.
But the character designs are good. The animation is fun. It's lively. I wish we could slow down a little bit in some parts, but it's very good overall. I would say I give it a pass in terms of, like, style and animation and, like, artistic vision. Like, there's some they're experimenting a lot, which is fun. I like seeing movies in eras where, like, I can tell, like, kind of the new technology at the time, because, like, there are 3D elements in the backgrounds of buildings, so, like, they are able to do, like, aerial shots of that are moving around, and that's a very technically hard thing to do at the time with this new 3D technology.
Yeah.
That they can put into animation now. And, like, we kind of just take it for granted, like, oh yeah, we can just throw CGI in there. Like, this was, like, back when you had to build everything from the ground up. Because this is, what, 93?
Yeah.
So this is 2 years before Toy Story was released.
And this isn't even Disney.
No. This is, like, I don't even know if they're around anymore.
I mean, it's under Universal.
It's under Universal, but, like, it's Steven Spielberg animation company, and, like, I'm guessing they probably did stuff with Animaniacs.
Yeah, probably.
But, man, what a film. Thanks for sharing this with me.
Yeah. It was one where I was surprised that you had, like, legitimately surprised you hadn't seen it.
Yeah, because I've seen Land Before Time, like, several of them.
Right.
But I've never seen We're Back.
And I was trying to remember, like, how I first encountered it, because I've definitely just, like, found it online pre the, like, oversaturation of streaming services era. I've definitely, like, just found it online because I was like, oh yeah, remember that movie? I want to watch that movie. But I don't really remember, like, the first time I encountered it. I'm sure it was, like, a VHS rental from Blockbuster or something like that.
Probably.
Because we saw that there were dinosaurs on it. Yeah, definitely familiar movie from my childhood. But do you want to give it a rating?
I do want to give it a rating. So, as a reminder for this podcast, the way that my rating system works is on a scale of 5 to -5. 5 being the best it could possibly be, 0 being the worst, and -5 being so bad it's amazing. I would give this... I think I'd give this a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Because as a viewer, I legitimately enjoy it. It has its faults. It's not something I'm going to watch again on a regular basis, but, like, once in a while, if someone brings it up and wants to watch it, I'll be all for it. What do you rate this? Watching it now in 2022.
Well, let's start with 0 eggs laid out of 2. I would say, let's go with, like, 5 hot dogs out of 10. I think that's my rating. It doesn't hold up for sure. Like most animation from the 90s and early 2000s, most animated movies like this doesn't quite hold up to me watching it back, but it isn't made for me as an adult. It was made for me as a kid. Like, that's the target audience when they were making it. So, as an adult,
they got you.
You got me halfway. I love a dinosaur. And I love a cool, weird fantasy plot. So, that's my rating. 5 hot dogs out of 10.
You've heard it here. But thanks for joining us on this adventure.
Do you have any ideas for next week?
I know exactly what I'm going to show you.
Alright, I'm looking looking forward to it. Well, 2 weeks from now, you'll be able to find out what the next movie is. I think that'll be all for the night. Thanks again so much for listening. It was great to have you here. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, evening, week, wherever you are.
Whenever you're listening to this.
Whenever you're listening. And just a reminder, you can find us at Cinema Crush Pod on Twitter and Instagram if you have thoughts and feelings about this movie. So come say hi.
And we love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, this is Editing Jacob, in the future, here to say if you're going to watch this movie, you also have to look up the deleted scenes, because there is a scene that was cut from this movie that delves into the deep lore of Professor Screw Eyes. That is all.
Thanks again for dropping in, and we hope you've enjoyed the evening as much as we've enjoyed having you here. Till next time, please drive carefully, and good night now.